right, part two, conversation's good, so we just kind of kept talking, but Bola, you said you're not like in the management of the team right now, but you're certainly a very active member,
No,
which is
I
also...
misspoke actually. I actually am
Okay,
part of
you
the
are.
management team.
Okay,
Now I am, yeah. I have been for the past year now, I guess. I joined the management team. They asked me to join the management team just because I was very vocal in our group chat. You know, making sure people knew what races were coming up. I just did that voluntarily.
And that's a big role, right? Because we talk about on Team 2, like who's making the calendars, doing this, like just participating, right? But being part of the conversation, not just like maybe showing up to a few races, but not doing much more beyond that. And that's always the question, like if you're in a racing team, okay, like that's the other part of it. Like you said, a lot of people sort of whatever, they retire from the racing team, let's put it that way, right? They still ride bikes, but they don't have the time, or it's not the time in their life anymore to be bike racing, which is perfectly fine.
Right.
But it's a question of like saying, okay, I'm done with it, and then you say I officially retire from the team, and then the team is really focused on the development part of the team, at least, is because we can talk about Major Taylor overall, but the development team is really meant to be a racing team, right?
Exactly. We've had that exact discussion with members of the team who weren't racing or performing up to what we thought our standards were. We're like, this team, the development team, is a branch off of the Iron Riders, which is the major club that we were birthed from.
Right.
So the Major Taylor Iron Riders Club, group riding club that was birthed out in Brooklyn. Actually, no, I believe history says it started from a group called L&M that was based out in Jersey. They moved their way both over here, and then the Iron Riders Club grew from there.
Yeah.
From those who were riding with the Iron Riders Club, a couple of folks wanted to race. Like, it got to be a bit like monotonous one. They wanted to go a little faster and test their legs racing. Development team was born. Now we have a development team that's designed for racing, and people on said team aren't racing.
Right.
That's fine, but we need you to
Yeah.
exit stage left.
Yeah.
It's cool. We'll see you on the group rides with the club.
Yeah, right.
But when it comes time to race, we're here to do work.
Yeah. And it can be distracting, right? When you have like a sort of a silent majority who's just kind of there and hanging around, you're like, and if you're a new member, and when you want to race, then there's too much of people who are not racing in the team. It's a weird dynamic then, right? It's better to have that focus, which totally makes sense. And on that LM and the Major Taylor Iron Riders, I think a lot of people heard podcasts about that, or they were featured a lot. I think the last year or two when Black Lives Matters was really on everybody's mind during the pandemic. I heard major cycling outlets like talking to that part of, well, they're a separate club, right? But that kit is very present at the moment too. Like they have this nice, like is it like dark blue or something? It's a black and gold sort of kit.
There is, yeah. So those were
they
BLM
have the Major Taylor name, but that's not you guys. You guys are sort of the racing division of that.
Exactly.
Is that how you would say it? Yeah.
So that black and gold kit was the BLM kit. It was designed by the Iron Riders Club. Sold ridiculously well, literally globally, and that wasn't the intent to just sell jerseys. It was really to bring awareness to those who have unfortunately lost their lives due to police brutality on the names of the victims, or in that gold
little fine print. Yeah,
all amongst the jersey. And it was really well received. It sold really well, and some of the proceeds from those sales were donated from the first run to the Legal Defense Fund for NAACP.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of good with the selling of those kits.
So you are affiliated with the Major Taylor Iron Riders too.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like I said before, like development team was birthed out of the Iron Riders Club.
Yep.
So we are separate.
But the connection continues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We do work with them very hand in hand.
Awesome. Yeah.
So when we are not racing and we want to do group rides, we do it with the club.
Yeah.
There are major big rides that the Iron Riders Club puts on every year. So there's the
Montauk,
Orchard.
right?
Yeah, exactly. That's my favorite.
That's the famous one. I've never done it, but it's a big one. Yeah.
You got to come through next year, bro.
Okay.
This year.
When is it? It's usually in
September.
Something
I think it's September 11th, if I'm not mistaken, as of right now.
I should be on next September.
So that is definitely one of our big rides. That was one of the first rides I did, actually, even before I joined the team. That was one of the big group rides I'd ever done. I did it for like 2 years before joining the team.
And that's you ride from Brooklyn right all the way out to Montauk. It's like 120 miles or something like
They
that.
started
right?
Prospect Park
All the way
out
to the
Lighthouse.
eastern end of Long Island.
It's a big event. It's on bike ride for folks to register in advance.
Yep.
Fully supported. They charter a bus
So
to
got like
bring
stops.
folks back.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah.
There are, I think, 4 stops, but the A group, we're making 1. So the folk who are fast and really moving,
You better not pee. Yeah.
there's only one stop.
One
You're
stop.
hitting that one stop, and they're going.
Yeah.
This what was that, 2021? Fastest I'd ever seen it done.
Oh yeah. Tailwind or just a lot of motivated folks?
Both.
Yeah.
Fucking A. Like, I usually I was still in Rockaway at the time, I would meet them on Sunrise Highway in Lindbergh.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the start was supposed to be, I believe, 6:30 from Brooklyn. So usually every year I'd leave my house at 7 to catch them at 7:30 or so by Lindbergh. I get to Lindbergh, I'm texting my teammates, yo, where are you guys at? Yo, we're at Freeport. I'm like, who? We made it to Freeport by 7:11, leaving at 6:30. That was 45 minutes.
Yeah.
They're in Freeport.
They were moving.
I'm like, oh, hell no. This dude I brought out, I felt so bad for him. Oh, man. He wanted to do the ride. I'm like, yeah, cool. We'll ride out there. We left late, but like, nobody was going to expect them to be hauling ass like that. I'm like, dude, we need to catch. We need to move. I'm like,
so this
we
guy
need to hold
on your
26.
wheel.
And I said, we can take turns. He looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, we need to.
Yeah.
Get on my wheel, do not drop. He was suffering. I was too, but like, damn, he was ready to die. We get close enough to catch the sag wagon. So the sag wagon is what picked us up and took us to the rest stop.
Oh, nice.
So we made, I think I was pulling 26 by myself for at least 3 to 5 miles to catch the end of the group. Where one of them saw us and he turned around and the next day they came back behind us, told us, get in, we're not going to catch him. And he was right.
Wow.
He took us like maybe a good 10 to 12 miles up the road. At the rest stop where they're all like the A group is stopped and they're getting ready to go again. I'm like,
oh my god.
What did I miss? Who shot who? Like, where's the guns at? But it was insane. We got there and then carried on with the rest of the ride, which was also just ridiculously fast. The tailwind did also help a great deal. But it was a really fun ride. I highly recommend anybody looking for a good, fun, fast ride. Come out to the Legends.
Yeah, that's a legendary ride, I think, in the area for sure. Yeah. And you said there's some other ones, but like you guys have how big is the development team or the development part of the team?
Right now, 9 riders.
Nice. So it's a very small, tight group then. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's how you kind of, like you said, you prefer we're like when it focus on racing. That's what we want to do, right?
Those who focused on racing, come see us at the development team. Yeah, you want to ride around? You're more than welcome to ride around and chill with us when we're doing so with the development team. Otherwise, the Iron Riders Club that's what it's there.
And that's big, right? That side of the club,
Huge.
So that's a big group. I do see them on W2, and but I see the development kit around too. So obviously there's both of that. So
the main time we integrate with the Iron Riders Club is for the big rides. So the big rides are. They do an annual ride to Bear Mountain, to Orchards. There's one called On and Poppin', which is out to Princeton, New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that one goes with like a police escort for an extended period of time.
Oh, okay.
And then they ride up to
I was going to say, how is that with the roads? But with the police escort, I guess it's not a problem.
Yeah, so that ride I've never done. There's always been a conflict, so I've always missed it. Really looking forward to doing this year. And then
coffee and what do you have for dessert at the moment?
Maverick, cheesecake, carrot cake, wings.
I'll take the cheesecake. You want dessert or
carrot cake?
Carrot.
There you go.
And another coffee.
Oh yeah, coffees. Thank you. So that already I'm done, but lots of good events. Like you said, you can join the club if you're part of the racing team, development team. You can join the bigger rides too, and there's certainly some mingling. So it sounds like you've enjoyed that. Experience. Yeah. And then do you feel like because like I said, the club or specifically the Major Challenge Iron Riders have got a lot of attention in the media. Do you feel like that's sort of disappeared and we're back to quote unquote normal, like the pre kind of Black Lives Matter protests, George Floyd, all of that. Do you think things have changed, or like for the better through the last 2-3 years? Have people gotten a little bit more, whatever you want to call it, understanding, woke? For that word is laden with a lot of other things, but how do you feel like that's not everybody's favorite word for good reasons, and what's the feeling? Do you think, and you mentioned in the beginning there weren't a lot of people looking like you who were, and it is New York City, which one could probably argue is one of the most diverse racing scenes and road biking scenes in the world, if not the one. And still there was a lack of representation, at least in the racing scene maybe. I think we got a bunch of folks from Guyana, for example, who represent, but African American, if I think, for example, I don't know how you identify, but that's more of a smaller group still. So how do you see all of that? Do you feel like things are changing? Do you feel like you getting more? You sounded like you getting more young, motivated people to come out. Like, how is that?
I feel that the jury's still out. It's still too early to tell.
Yeah.
It is moving in a positive manner, though. It's a lot better than when I first started. I'll say that much for sure.
That's great.
At least definitely like with the numbers of folk that you actually see.
Yeah.
People of color in general, or like African Americans, which is who I identify as. Those numbers are going up, and the thing that just baffled me is like you said, like, this is supposed to be the most diverse spot on the planet, which it is, but it doesn't represent that when you look at a peloton, which is like it's supposed to be a representation of what the city is and what it looks like. But in actuality, that was not the case. And I thought that was troubling, and I kind of asked myself, why is that? A lot of folk, I think, didn't necessarily see the point of the glamour and glitz because it can be seen as an elitist sport.
Yep.
Like what's the point of like spending X amount of dollars on a bike and all this other stuff? Then you got to buy in with a license and then the race fee, and it's like the expense upon expense upon expense.
It's money, and it's also like having to understand how to sign up, how to become a cycling member. Right? There's like
it's quite a bit.
There's a hurdle. There's lots of hurdles.
It
right?
most certainly is.
It's
and
not like you show up randomly.
Or you have no kind of help. Someone to teach you or let you know what's going on. And if you're not self-motivated to find out, how do you get into that?
It's definitely still a thing. I agree. And the sports, to some extent, that financial part's always going to be there, right? But building up structures where you can make it a little bit less of a jump, right? Like less of a hurdle, a jump at least maybe would be good. There are programs for that, and I think hopefully more so. Do you guys feel that? Do you feel like you've had more riders join or ask about the team because of over the last? Like I said, the jury's still out, but do you feel like there's been more interest in a racing team?
There has. That's how we got the current core group of dedicated riders and racers that we have now, and even more so than just like opening it up for people of color. My personal mission is actually to try to see more women in sport also in general. Like what happened to the women's peloton? What happened to like actually having women's races? And I get from the promoter standpoint that they gave them an opportunity one season, I think it was like 2 seasons ago, and like started holding women's fields, and like the women didn't show up. And like they asked for it. They actually throw a women's series at Floyd Bennett for a little bit. Aisha McGowan fought hard to bring that back.
She dominated that, right? I think I always saw her off the front. She was showing up from nobody knew her at the time, or nobody had like really had her on the. I mean, I certainly didn't.
Same here.
A lot of people like, who's that woman soloing off the front? And she's not from around here, right? So there's a little bit of that. Why is she here? Like, she must be real serious. She
advocated to make sure that the race came back because she's from here.
Is she originally from here?
Yeah,
okay.
she's from Brooklyn. and like she grew up doing that race, and she was sad to see it go away.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first started, there was never a women's field. There hadn't been for years.
Yeah.
They bring back one the year she advocated to bring it back, to get racing there back in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw women's participation drop each race because I was at that race regularly.
It's
And
hard.
as a result, the promoters, I think at the time it was Charlie, who's now retired from race promoting. Shout out to Charlie, and love the work that he's done and appreciate the work that he's done with all the races around NYC, Prospect Park, Floyd Bennett, did a couple of Central Park races. Like,
Yeah.
it's a labor of love to be a race promoter. Like, it is not paid.
Yeah.
It is straight up like you're sacrificing a shit ton. You think we have it hard as racers? Nah, I take my cap off to the race promoters that really put that shit
And that's
on.
why it's so hard, right? You're so thankful for people doing these jobs, and then it's really easy to sit here and
thankless
say
job.
you need to put on the women's field, right? Or you need to put on this field, or you need to do X, Y, Z. And yes, we do need to push them, and we want to push them, but it's also
It is a give and take.
it's really hard. Do I just like now? I don't know, like boycott this race organizer because they're not putting on women's races, but they're also working their ass off. So it's a really black. It's not just a sort of black
There's
and white
a lot
kind
of
of
gray
issue.
definitely in the middle there. So, although I want one thing, I also see the opposite side, and I see the amount of work that they have tried to put in to be more inclusive and give those opportunities to women. Like, they need more opportunities, but at the same time, when those opportunities do arise, it's like, it's difficult to even like approach that subject. You can't force folk to do anything, and no one wants to. Like, you want to give them the opportunity, but I don't want to be like, oh, it's your fault that you didn't show up to racing. Like, I don't know that. Like, they're this.
All right, flip it.
Who knows
It's Tuesday
what
night,
circumstance
right? You gotta get out there. Most people ride Flatbush, which is sort of crazy, right? Like, it's not a fun road to ride on.
It's not fun. It really
It
is.
sort of
It's
is. It makes you feel very alive, but it's
Mhm.
also definitely not the
death trap.
safest. Yeah, it's not where you would usually be wanting to ride.
I got really used to
And
riding
I
it.
only have to ride like the last bit of it, or if I want to go back in the city to Basilica because we're hanging out with the team, then I ride back. But I'm always like, oh my god. Every time you get to the city, you get to Prospect Park, you're like, thank you. We did it. So it's all good. But so it's understandable. But yeah, and talking about the women's field, and this is maybe something that I have to talk about with another woman again. It's like it's probably even less diverse than the men's field. I don't know. Maybe that's just my impression. But it looks like that, right? It just kind of thinking about it briefly. I'm not in the women's field, so I'll have all the names of people and faces on my mind, but certainly the men's field in New York City is also predominantly white still, and again, that's less so than the rest of, let's say, probably the pro Peloton or in other places, right?
Yeah,
I think if you come to
that
New York
far.
City, you're like, oh, this is, you got the Guyanese folks, you got African Americans, you got tons of different Latinos from all kinds of different countries and places, right? Dominicans regularly dominating here, we got a lot of different people from different places, but
on the women's field, not nearly as
so
diverse.
much, it seems, right? Yeah.
I think now on our team we have one woman. We're still looking to open up the opportunity to other women who want to venture into cycling. We're here to support. That's the whole point of the development team. Our mission is to give a safe space for those who want to venture into cycling and racing. Most specifically, if you want to try your legs at racing, we're here to support them and actually develop. Where I don't think I've seen in many other teams. Like, there wasn't in my previous team, and I'm not
the development aspect.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I did that all on my own. And these guys
That's often the
had
expectation.
plenty of experience, and I'd ask for a little bit of. I'm not give me 3 hours of your time, but give me some tips, something. And I got nothing. Straight nada. I was like, all right, cool. But with the current team, we're all about actually growing the sport with the people that we have on the team, because they have an interest in something and they don't know necessarily how to proceed.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that we have, whether it be knowledge, experience, resources, we're going to share it with those people who are looking to grow in the sport.
Do you work on that note? Is there a dedicated coach? Do you work with a coach? I know you do Trainer Road, which is a platform. I don't get paid for advertising or anything, but there are other platforms. But it is one of the more currently popular training kind of platforms. That's what you use, right? Do you use anything else? Do you have a guy who's like the coach or main mentor on the team, or is that you already? Are you with that already, or
sort of, kind of, but not exactly. I wouldn't take that moniker as a coach. Everyone is different. If you can afford a coach, I highly recommend it. If you can't, I highly recommend Trainer Road. And the thing that I will preface with is you should come into going on Trainer Road or any kind of coaching relationship with a background as to how you operate and how you train and what works for you, because we are all different. Yep. Not everyone is going to respond the same way I'll respond to 15 hours a week of training.
Yeah.
Not everyone will respond the same to 23. Some people don't need that much.
Yeah.
Some people do need that much.
Some people just can't handle that much, right? Yeah. Mentally,
and
physically.
The only person that can tell you that is you. You need to have a base of understanding how your body reacts to riding and training. And from there, you can then go on to training yourself via whatever platform you choose to use. I personally use Trainer Road. I've attempted all the others out there. I've used Ruby, Be Cool in the past, Zwift.
Oh yeah, you've really
tried them all.
Yeah.
And I've seen the most result with Trainer Road and the versatility of having their diverse library of workouts and knowing what I want to do on a specific day and being able to find a workout like it and pick it, send it to my head unit if I want to go outside, do the shit outside, or sit on the trainer. Being that I know what I need, I can plug and play and be about it. When you don't necessarily have that, that's where I feel, it makes sense to have a coach. A good coach will ask you that question as to what works for you. If you're working with a coach and they are not asking you that question, find a new coach. Period.
Yeah.
They need to know, or at least have an inkling to ask, what is it that works for you? How do you operate currently? What does your path look like? That's usually on the first opening interview that I've heard of folks having with their coaches, with good coaches. So that's where it should start from.
They ask you to listen to you, and
absolutely, and it should
be with you individually, right?
Exactly, it should be a back and forth relationship to help you grow at least. That's the only way it works.
No, I fully agree. That's what we say our team members too. Like, look, you got to find something that works for you,
and because
otherwise you're going to get miserable, or you're going to be unhappy with your coach, you're going to be unhappy with me, or you're going to be unhappy with the software, or whatever it is that you're using. You got to
go around looking at other people and judging yourself, comparing yourself to others.
Nah, it's hard to.
It don't matter. It's a slippery slope.
And that's obviously. We all like to do that, right? Because we're like, oh, did you see so-and-so's ride and like whatever Prospect Park and that workout, and like, should I be doing that? I'm like, you just stick. What's like you said, if you get to the point where you know what's good for you and what you can handle, I think that's a really healthy kind of point. Absolutely. That's where you can grow, for permission to grow. We can talk more about that, but let's talk a little bit about. The work you do, because it's bike related too, and I think you're maybe the first one I have here who's currently working in a bike shop. And you just transitioned, right? You said?
So I'm transitioning now, starting actually tomorrow, ironically. I will be at Hilltop Bicycles in Brooklyn, Williamsburg. So
congratulations.
Shout out,
I'll give him a shout out. Yeah.
I'll be the cycling specialist over there.
And that's right by
right by the Williamsburg Bridge.
Called? Yeah,
it's on what is that?
It's right by that big Ken. That's where the big bike path goes all the way through. Right? Yeah. Yep. So you'll start that tomorrow. Used to be at South Shore, right?
South Shore years ago. Where I was previously was Long Beach. So I was managing the Long Beach Bicycles store out in Long Beach almost.
Long Beach and Merrick, they're kind of twin.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Yep. Second location is Merrick. Their third location is actually Rogue Cycles.
Oh, okay.
So Rogue,
different name, but they're connected. Okay.
Connected, different store. and it's owned and run by this really good guy, great fitter, and I will sing his praises till the day.
Sorry, what's the name?
Rogue Cycles?
Yeah.
Chris Pulumina.
Oh, yeah. He's a big racer too. Yeah.
Guy's a freaking monster engine.
Yeah.
Really nice
big
guy.
Big diesel engine. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. He's got a trademark look. He's a little bit more pierced than the average cyclist, so he's easy to remember.
He sticks out.
He's always got the mouth open, the tongue out, or something like that, I think. And he's got a trademark.
When he's ready
face.
to, when he's
good.
ready to work, he's ready to work, and he's got quite the engine to put in that work. So, I don't think you can give him 20 seconds.
No, he's that
you'll
kind
pay
of guy
for it.
you don't give,
Sorry, bro.
you don't
I
give the gap.
had to shoot you there. But he's running the Rogue Cycle shop.
Okay, I didn't know that was connected. Okay, because I remember he used to work right with a Merrick Cycles kid or something, and then he showed up in the Rogue kid, but that's all
He was one of the
sort of
mechanics
connected
over
stuff.
at Merritt. He's opened up his own shop now over at Rogue and Rockville Center.
So how's that been over the pandemic, working in the bike shop? Has it been crazy? Has it been crazy out there on Long Island too?
Yeah, it was insane. It was utterly insane. Demand for bikes.
Mm-hmm.
We had them for a bit, and then the slow trickle of intake came, and the demand didn't slow down, but the supply of bikes did. And it was just like most especially, I guess, coming towards the end of this 2021 was when it really got bad, especially for road bikes, which was really my focus. Like everything else, not so much mountain bikes, hybrids. We didn't have much of any of them, but like cruisers, we had actually ample of. But like the high-end stuff, those came harder to come by coming towards the end of the season. Like high demand for it all, and then the slow up of product getting into the ports, coming in from all on the West Coast.
Which you're still seeing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. It just
The
really
ports are blocked from what I hear. Like there's not enough trucks and containers to get the stuff over here. So all these issues.
There weren't the personnel to even work them either. I'm gonna throw this jacket out.
Yeah, with cold. Yeah, I know. We're not gonna be much longer. It's seriously cold today. I'm like on the shivering side too. So once again, I appreciate the effort we're putting in here today. But you're gonna be starting. So you're gonna be starting a new shop. Which is exciting because you are in Brooklyn, right? So it's probably gonna slash your commute time down. It's gonna bring your commute time down.
Half hour for me to get there. I am okay with that.
With the bike or
bike? Bike is about a half hour. It might be like an hour taking public transit.
Yeah, a little messy doing public transit, probably. Yeah.
It might be. We'll see how far I'm willing to go to ride out there. I'll brave it. If it's just a half hour.
It's been pretty brutally cold. This is the first time I was like today. I was like, I think I can do it, and then I don't have to squeeze in like a ride later on the trainer. So maybe I'll just do. But
I made sure to like try to get a ride in before here, so I did. Like it did like hour and 45. And it was like,
okay. You've been working already.
I had to get that in. I was like, I know I'm not gonna want to do it later.
No, that's what I was like, and I was like, I could still jump on it tonight, but I'm gonna do a workout tomorrow morning. Let's just call this my workout for today. But
it shouldn't be terrible.
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
How's with the bike shop? Do you think over the last year or two or whatever with the pandemic, do you think there have been more like new people coming to buy these road bikes that are not there anymore, or do you feel like there has been a renewed interest in bike? Maybe the faster, the athletic side of it, maybe the racing side of it, but certainly the going fast on road bike side.
Yeah, I definitely noticed a large influx of brand new people to cycling. The amount of bikes that we sold that were road bikes, high end, it didn't really matter across the board. Road bikes were selling like hotcakes to everybody, but most especially the newbies. There were a lot of new people to cycling. They either got into it on Peloton or a trainer, and during the pandemic, they were riding indoors, and when they had the opportunity to go back outdoors, they wanted to get a bike. So nonstop, we were selling bikes like hotcakes. It was not a game.
I mean, I'm sure you're going to say the jury's on that still too, but do you think that's going to somewhat continue with the shortage continuing, or is it going to slow down a little bit? I mean, you start a new shop, so hopefully it's going to be good for you guys. But
yeah, it's going to be good. Personally, I see that going to be the case for at least the next 5 years. that was my initial like prediction. As soon as pandemic hit, and I realized, okay, demand is going to skyrocket, but you can't keep supply up to meet that demand. And I don't see the demand really going down anytime soon. In order for the industry to right itself, it's going to take at least 5 years.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's going to be like this for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
It's going to be
so you're gonna have to say a lot. Sorry, we don't have that right now. Or is that gonna be the reality of your work in the shop, or are you gonna be?
We're gonna try our best.
Let's hook you up with something that's similar.
We will work it out to make you get mobile.
Yeah.
But seeing exactly what it is that you want when you want it,
it's gonna be hard.
It's gonna be patience. It's a major test in patience that I have definitely learned a great deal of as becoming a father. Like,
okay, congrats on that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So you got married last September, you said, or something?
October.
October.
So this past October, my wife finally got married. 3 years ago. So little man's 3. So nice. We've been together for.
Okay, so that's a little bit more routine already. Good.
Correct.
Yeah.
Been together forever, going on 9 years, and decided to finally tie the knot. And the little guy, having him around and trying to race and train and work has definitely been it's been a juggling act, but we've been able to make it work. And I give a major shout out to my wife, who's a major support, because without her I couldn't do half the mission I've been trying.
I should sing some songs about that too. So
yeah, thanks babe, you're the best. Yeah, like,
and that's where like indoor training is somewhat maybe better too, right? Because you're not out for 4 hours, you're inside, you're more efficient, you usually take less time, actually, probably.
A little bit less time.
And it can be rough, but if you have a young kid and your time is, comes at a premium, then it's nice.
I gotta keep him entertained. Like, he's up early, as am I, and it doesn't work all the time because he's demanding my attention when I really want to give it to the bike.
Yeah, it's not like you can be like supervising him and spinning on the bike for an hour. Probably
can't do it both for that long. So it being short, like the hour sessions are perfect.
Yeah,
I'll set him up with some snack for breakfast, if it's cereal, he's chomping on cereal. Give him his iPad, watch a show until he's bored with it. Keep him entertained.
So these are the early mornings in the house. Yeah.
So when I was at my parents' place out in Rockaway, I would be in the basement. He wakes up, he's coming down the stairs, he's sitting in the chair right next to me. Put on a show for him. He was fine. He'll sit, watch his show, and I get to do my training. Mom gets to sleep, grandma gets to sleep.
Yeah.
And then when in the winter outside of the winter months, I would go out for rides with him. I had a little carriage that I would attach to my bike, go out to the end of Rockaway out in Reese Park and bring him back.
Okay. So you're riding the beach path there.
The Rockaway Boardwalk is like 11 miles round trip.
Yeah, you can do some
great training. That was my spot.
You just have him on the back there. Yeah,
I would have him on the back.
I was gonna say with those like car carriage things, like I wouldn't be super comfortable using those in traffic with a kid, but like up there, perfect.
Out there, no major traffic. A lot of bike lane, so it's safe to get from like where I was at Beach 19 out to Breezy Point and then back. I'll get like that 20-ish miles in an hour and a half, giving my wife and the rest of the family some extra time to do themselves. Yep. It was great.
We just needed it, right? Both of the house.
And having that patience was grown out of being a parent. And exercising that patience now when you're looking to get a bike, you can't. Y'all gonna need some of that.
What are you riding right now?
Giant Defy.
Oh, is that still the bike? Go back in the day? Nice.
The Giant Defy is my main bike. I had briefly for a bit the Giant Propel Advance SL.
How do you like that? Yeah.
I loved it. Don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
I returned it because I was disappointed with actually the group set.
Okay.
The SRAM ETAP Axis wasn't necessarily my fave. I've ridden Shimano my entire life. Loved it. There was no
want to get into memes
had
here,
had an opportunity to try the new stuff, and it didn't do what I thought it was supposed to. What I expected it to do for the price point. I'm like, the shit was lagging.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not sponsored by anybody, so I can say whatever the hell I want. The group set did it for me. It ruined the bike, unfortunately. Like when I needed it to go, it wasn't going. Like I had to, in my mind, and preemptively shift down in advance to know that it's going to actually shift a little bit out.
Yeah.
It wasn't once. No, it wasn't twice. I raced the entire season knowing that, and I was like feeling more comfortable on my Defy, where I know it's going to work when it's going to work.
Yeah.
So
how do you feel about pretty much everybody, including Shimano? Shimano just announced. I don't want to get too techie. We're not usually super techie on the, but as somebody who's in the market of selling bikes too, you're going to go full wireless, full
electronic from now on,
full 12-speed. Excited about that? You're going to see a lot of people coming back in the shop and saying my e-shifting is not working, or what do you expect? How do you see that? I know it's hard for you too. You are selling the product and you're connected, but it's not like you're gonna have a choice, right? They're gonna give you those.
You're really not,
right?
And I'm only gonna be able to do with what I can with what I've got.
Right.
I'll make the best of it. My personal feeling about Shimano going in that direction, I understand it as a business. They're trying to literally market the most progressive thing that there is. They're trying to get better. They're trying to get faster. They want the best. Electronic
and when it works like here, it's great. Yeah,
it is. There's nothing wrong with mechanical.
Right.
Like, it's not flawed, but
which is the retro garage argument, right? That I often use too, right? There's nothing wrong with it. They'll fix it, kind of like. But
and they've improved it to the absolute max that it can get. It's not going to get any better than
the gains will be
Dura-Ace
really
9100.
Right.
That was it, and that's what I run currently on my Defy. Dura-Ace 9100 mechanical with Dura-Ace power meter.
Oh, you got a nice setup.
Like, that ride right there, I feel more comfortable and like aggressive on than I did on the SRAM Ready Tab X.
Yeah.
I was like, my best result that I had last season was at the Harlem Skyscraper Crit on the Defy.
I saw that result. That was a good one.
I was like, this is not even the faster bike that I own, and I'm still killing it. Yeah, and I went with that for the rest of the season.
Awesome. Yeah. You had a good time with that result, yeah?
Oh,
I mean, you like that kind of course?
That was
like a really flat out,
ever done the Harlem Skyscraper
fast speed. Yeah, I still haven't done it. I need to do it this year, but I already know
I recommend it.
There might be a date conflict. There's always a CSC race in the morning too, which is not great. But anyway, so
there's a CRCA race that day. There's always one that morning, and the crit is in later.
But I might have just prioritize the crit. But you like the crit. You had a good time there.
Absolutely.
That's your kind of course?
Yeah. I'm more of a crit racer. I prefer crits. I like road races, but once there's climbs involved, I can get up them, but I'm never going to really win. I know where my strengths lie, and that ain't it. So
that's what it's about, being a bike race. You got to figure it out. We always joke, we all start out like watching the tour, and then we all want to be like GC riders winning the mountain stages, and like 99% of them has to realize like, no, that's not us. So, the crits are big and the fast, and I think that's a growing scene and market in the US. I hope. Talk a lot about what's going on there. You always say crits is no more, but there's some sort of new series coming.
I'm looking forward.
Do you look at that? Like, is that motivation for you, being more of a crit style racer? Do you look at that? Do you look at? You mentioned watching bike videos. You look at like. Well, there's so many YouTube channels from racers now, but the Williams brothers obviously have a big one, have a good one with a lot of following.
Motivation and inspiration, those guys.
Huge.
Like, I got into the sport not just to like see more people like me and like finding them and actually meeting and riding with Justin. Rode with him. We did a meet and greet when I was working at Rafa as a ride leader. Did a meet and greet ride around Central Park.
When they were here for the skyscraper, right?
Yeah. Exactly. A couple of years ago. We rode back down, what was that? 8th Ave through Times Square. Yo.
He was enjoying himself.
Oh, man. Seeing pros do what they do when they really want to do it is a whole nother thing. Meeting him, I realized that there's a difference between professionals and the guys who gallivant or think they're hot shit. Like, it was with Justin Williams, Taylor Finney, and oh my god, the green jersey winner, Eric Zabel.
Oh yeah.
Fuck. Eric Zabel pulled these, I thought, the sketchiest of moves, but it looked so fluid to him.
Yeah.
We come back from another meet and greet ride. He's in the back schmoozing, doing
the city. Yeah.
They're in the city. We're coming back from 9W, and as we're approaching the GW, the left turn that you make to get back onto the bridge.
Yeah.
He knows where it is, intentionally goes past it, goes into traffic, pulls a U-turn up like on a fucking dime and sprints back and makes the right. And I'm like, that's a dude who knows how to handle his fucking bike. That's his job.
That's his job, right? Yeah, he did that for a long time, and
like it was nobody's business.
Yeah.
We get on the bridge and we're navigating back, and he's like picking up the pace and just navigating through everybody like they're standing still. I'm like, and this is technically my job to lead the ride back. He was schmoozing in the back, and I was like, oh, maybe he doesn't want to do, because he'd done like a couple other rides throughout the week that he was here. Right. But when it was time to go, and he went, I saw it and I felt it. I was like, oh, there is a difference. There's a major difference. Yeah. So I really appreciated those opportunities I had when I was at Rafa. I got to experience meeting those bros. It was a great time.
Yeah, I bet it was. Let's wrap up maybe. So that's already maybe talk a little bit about the future of crit race and future. Like, what do you see with where I talked about? You mentioned wanting to. I think more diversity, maybe in the field, still more women in the field. That's part of that diversity question. Maybe anything else you see when you look at you ride in the city, you're racing in the city, or what can we do? What can other people do better? What's still where's there still work that needs to be done? We've already pointed to some obvious ones, but anything else, or is that the main thing that you are like going to see you're working on?
What I would really like to see is that as we see a large influx of people coming into the sport, that we as a community just be as welcoming as possible, because we haven't been like in the past. It wasn't the most welcoming of communities. Like you said, like a lot of talk has already been made by the Major Taylor Iron Riders Club. That's been documented already, so I won't go deep into that. But I've experienced such instances like that as well. And I'm not calling anybody out, but like as a whole, we can do better. Like, we don't need to put our noses up and just start judging folk just because they're new. They don't know any better. Yeah. We were all there. Like, just lend a hand. Just be like, some encouragement. It goes a long way. It doesn't take anything from you to do the asshole thing, and nor does it take anything from you to be kind.
Yeah.
And to be embracing, and just to be promoting goodwill in the sport. Even if they're not racing, like, not everybody's going to be a racer. It doesn't matter.
That's right.
We want to be cyclists, and we want to be like good human beings. And I really want to work more this year personally towards advocating for safer riding conditions, not just for racing, but like in general. Like, it is dangerous to ride through NYC. Period. Verbatim.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of seeing these ghost bikes go up.
Yeah.
Seeing these people like lose
they're
their
really
lives
powerful
just riding.
images, but when you think about what they're standing for, right?
Sucks.
Yeah.
Like the amount of people who lost their lives riding their bikes who have been really badly hurt. And like the past week, I just found out this kid, really nice guy, he got doored and he's out of his bike. Probably know him. He rode with Verrazano, James, Patrick James.
Yeah.
Yo, I found out he got hit pretty bad.
Yeah, he just joined our team. So he did. Yeah.
Sweet, good for good.
No, there's a video of that.
Dude,
he got doored pretty hard.
Such a nice guy, and like, it doesn't matter who you are, but like these kind of situations, they happen unfortunately way too often.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that I need to do to get in contact with advocacy groups to notify drivers to just be a little bit more cognizant of the roads that were shared.
Yeah.
Like, they're supposed to be shared roads. Let's actually share those roads so we don't have to jeopardize folk who are making it easier for you to use your car.
Yeah.
Do so without fearing for their lives or that they're going to make it home in peace. I would really love to make sure that that's improved upon within the next year. Aside from increasing diversity in the sport, outside of that, is just increasing the safety of being able to ride in NYC, period. It's one of my most major points of duty for this coming year.
Thank you very much, Babalola. You'll find him in his major Taylor Development Team kit. Nice red and faded to black. You'll find him at local races. You'll find him. I'm sure you find him online too, but you'll also find him at now Hilltop in Williamsburg.
Yes, sir.
if you're looking for a bike, or if you want to talk about when you might be able to find a bike, Babalola's your man. Thank you very much.
Yo,
it was
no
a
problem.
pleasure.
Thanks for having me. Check you out later.